Hello guys, welcome to CodeRug. Hope you are doing great. Today we will discuss and learn about React hook. So let's get started. In this article we will be learning about hooks in React, rules for using hooks and their implementation. And what are the topics we are going to cover in today's topic, that are what are hooks, or we can say what are React hooks, what is the need of hooks, why we are talking about hooks and why we are going to implement hooks, so why there is a need of hook to be implemented in any React application, and what are the rules of using hooks. So as we know, whenever we implement any new concept or new scenario, definitely there are a set of rules which we need to implement in order to work according to their need. And last one is what are the type of hooks that are available and that we can use depending upon the scenario, depending upon the functionality we want to implement. So on the basis of that one, there are a set of hooks are there that we are going to say in this topics. So let's get deeper one by one. At first we are going to discuss what are hooks. So as we know, why we use React.js, because it's an open source JavaScript based user interface library. That means it is basically used to create any view for any page, we can say, and it's a library, open source. And if we talk about hooks, they are the new features and they were introduced in React 16.8 version. So from that version we have started using hooks in our React application. An alternative of writing, because we know when we want to implement or when we can write component based architecture, so we can write component using class based component or functional based component. So hooks can only be implemented in case of functional component, but if you prefer to write class based component, then there is different scenario or different approach you have to follow. That is, you have to go by lifecycle method of class based component. Only then you can able to implement those functionality. Now a simple definition we can say about hooks are function that are enable you to use React functionalities like state, lifecycle feature without using classes. So now if you want to implement lifecycle methods, definitely this complex structure is there, but by using hooks you can implement those lifecycle methods in your, we can say, functional component. As the name suggests, it enables you to hook into React state and the lifecycle feature from functional component. Now we will cover more what are hooks. So that means, as we know, React follow component based architecture. So as you can see in this program, we have created header component, main component and footer component, and we are exporting it into our root component, that is app component. So that means what we are doing right now, we are merging up all our child component in one parent component. Because why we are doing that one? Because we have created one header component and we can able to use reuse that header component anywhere in our React application, or we can say in our application. So what we are doing, we are reusing a piece of code which, or we can say component, which we have defined at one place, and that one we can able to import it anywhere wherever we want in our other component. By keeping that in mind, hooks are designed to work with functional component or custom hooks also. So there's another scenario is there, we can define our own custom hook as well. That one we will discuss in later videos, but for the understanding purpose we can define our hook as well, because they use the call stack of the functional component to manage the state and lifecycle of the component. Class based component do not have this call stack, so you cannot use hook directly in them. What does mean? That means, just like we have discussed, hooks can only be used in case of functional component. In case of class-based component, you have to go by lifecycle methods, which is very complex if we go any real application. But if we talk about current standard of React application as per their official documentation as well, it is preferred to use functional component, and they have designed their documentation in that way. So from my recommendation, or from React official recommendation as well, you must follow functional component based architecture. Now the other question comes, why the need of hooks? Because reusability of stateful logic. Before hooks, so if we go into definition, before hooks, we want to reuse some kind of logic between components. It was a bit challenging because rendering of props and other complexity was there, and which was making much more complex of that one. So by introducing of hooks, we can able to reuse our stateful logic. Other one is there, functional component with state and side effect. Now if we want to perform any kind of data fetching, we want to store some kind of data in some variable, and then we want to access that variable wherever we want in our application. At that place also hooks come, and we can able to reuse that one. And by using hook, our code will be much more cleaner, and it has we can divide into different portion of code. Like suppose we can say, if we are fetching, suppose normally you are calling an API, and after calling an API you are getting user information, or we can say user profile data, and that profile data you are storing in some variable, and in one variable you have stored. Now that variable, or you can say that state, you can able to reuse wherever you want to. For that one, definitely you have to subscribe to that state or data, then you can able to get the data. But it is like we at one portion we are storing the data, and separate portion we can able to call the data, so code will be much more cleaner. And because of hooks also, it enable us for better testing, allow you to test component without needing to set up complex state hierarchy or use special test component. And as we discussed, it is simplified code structure will be there. Now we will cover what are the rules of using hooks. So it is only be used in case of functional component, and calling of hooks should always be done at the top level of a component. That means, suppose if we have parent component, so we will define, definitely child component can have its own hook, but suppose one data we have to pass from parent to child component, so definitely we will define one state or hook we will call in our parent component, and from there we can, if we want, we can pass data to that one. Now other thing is that hook should not be inside conditional statement. That means, if we take example, suppose we have this piece of code is there. Now we have defined useState as a hook. So this is one type of hook that we are defining right now. In later videos we will definitely see the different scenarios, how you can implement useState, all these hooks. But for current purpose, we can say we are using one hook, that is useState. So normally we define that one. So it is always try to avoid inside conditional statement if we want to use any kind of hooks. So don't call inside conditional statement. It is always at the top level. So we have created one functional component, and inside functional component on top we have defined our useState, and then, or we can say we have defined one hook, and then we can continue our own code structure wherever we like. Now hook from functional component only, that one we are very much clear. Use hook in the same order. Ensure that hooks are called in the same order on every render in the component. This helps React to maintain proper state for each hook, because we can say in a component we can have multiple hooks we can use, definitely, right? So always try to create hook in a order, so that if we defining first hook, then try to implement that its functionality. If you are defining second hook, try to implement its functionality. So it has to be in order, so that React can able to maintain proper its state for each hook. And other thing is there, whenever you are defining any custom hook for yourself, then try to use with use prefix. That one we will see in later video, how you can create your own custom hook, but it's general scenario, always use that prefix for creating your own custom hook. Now we will discuss what are the type of hooks that are available, and that one we can use. So React provides several built-in hooks that cover different aspects of component functionality, allowing your functional component to manage state, handle side effect, access context, and many more. So here some of the core React hook we will see. Now there are several hooks are there, like useState. So useState is definitely there to manage, I'm not going into deeper because we have separate videos for that one, but I'm just giving you a general overview what are the different hooks, because at the time of interview definitely there will be one question, what are the type of hooks that are available, and that one we can use. So we can say first is useState. useState hook to manage a state, return a stateful logic, and update function to update it. Second one is there useEffect. useEffect, this hook, mainly the purpose of useEffect is to perform any side effect like calling an API, subscription, timer, and mutation, and many more. So the main purpose of useEffect is to call an API, get a data, and how once the data available for you, how you are managing that data in your application. So at that time we definitely prefer to perform useEffect. Another one is there useContext. It will return the current value of a context. And the fourth one is there useReducer. So useState alternative help with complex state management. Now useCallback. It return a memorized version of callback to help a child component not re-render unnecessarily. useMemo hook, it is another hook. It return a memorized value that help in performing optimization of our code, because we don't want to write some kind of complex code again and again. So at that time we use useMemo hook. Another one is there useRef. Basically it return a ref object with current property. A ref of object is mutable. It is mainly used to access child component. And the other one is there, second last, useLayoutEffect. It fire at end of the DOM mutation. It is best to use useEffect as much as possible over this one. So once we are using any hook, it depend upon which scenario we want to perform, and in that case we definitely prefer to use hook one over another. And the last one is there useDebugValue. So it helps us to display a label in React Dev tool for custom hook. So if we want to perform a testing, or we can say if we want to perform a developer tool, at that time we can use useDebugValue to see label kind of thing for using custom hook. I hope it is very much clear for you what are hooks, how we can implement that one, and what are the different type of hooks that are available, and what are the rules are there to implement any of the hook. So this is very much theoretical video is there, but in later videos we will go one by one and implement one hook at a time, and to see how it is performing, how it is behaving, and in which scenario you can use one hook over another. So that's all in this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you all.